morning. Thanks for sticking around with us. We had some things we had to iron out right before the show, but we are here. It is after GMS, Wednesday, July 20th. I'm Tracy McCain. Let's introduce all of our friends here in order of years at the station. So you start. I'm Ed Matthews, and I've been, how long have you been?
34 years, coming up the 22nd of August.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
crazy.
I'm just joking. You don't have to give your years.
Oh, we can. You're next.
Okay, I'm Tracy McCain, and I've been here 16 years.
All right.
In November. Can you believe that?
Megan Malaris, I've been here 9.5 years.
That went fast.
Wow.
Sure did.
I'm Christian Morgan. I've been here 4 years. I like ice cream.
And Long Beach.
Your mom's name is
Long walks on the beach.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so now that we've gotten to know each other, let's get to know you a little bit. We have some conversations ahead after we check our forecast.
Yeah, let's do it real fast. The heat and humidity, that is sticking around, not going anywhere. If you've been keeping track, you know, July's been hot. And in fact, at this point, we've had 21 days at 90 degrees or above. 9 of those days have come in the month of July, but we haven't officially had a 90-degree day since last Friday. I expect us to change that again today, make it 22 on the year. High pressure in control of our weather, but we still have the heat and humidity pouring in from the south. No real trigger for thunderstorms today, so I expect most of us to stay dry. Although as a cold front swings through the Piedmont tomorrow, that'll give us a better chance for thunderstorms, and a few of those could be on the strong or severe side. That really is the best chance for storms of the week so far that we will have, about a 50% chance. Not saying that everybody gets one, but there's a much better chance for you on Thursday of getting some rain in your neighborhood. Of course, we still need some rain, even though a lot of that rain last week helped to clear out some of our drought concerns. Plan for today is sunshine early on. This morning we'll have some clouds building in for the afternoon. We're up around 90 degrees, if not some low 90s in places this afternoon as well. Feeling like the mid and upper 90s when you factor in that humidity. Overnight, mostly clear skies. We'll fall back to the low 70s around the Piedmont, upper 60s and low 70s for the foothills and up into the mountains. And then as you look at the next 7 days, I know I said the words cold front tomorrow for your Thursday, but make no mistake about it, this will not cool us down. And in fact, we start to warm things up even more. 93 for your Friday, and then mid-90s for your Saturday and Sunday. We'll be mainly dry for Friday through the weekend. Those mid-90s feeling like 100 for Saturday and Sunday.
All right, feels like 100 degrees, much different than the actual temperature of 100 degrees. Summer heat wave in parts of the country. It's hot here and humid, but that's really normal. Not so normal out west where temperatures are triple digits for long stretches of time.
It's important to know when someone is experiencing a heat stroke. An injury health coordinator says heat stroke starts at heat exhaustion. Symptoms begin with that hot, clammy skin. Then you could start feeling confused or tired. Children and senior citizens' body temperatures can increase in 3 to 5 minutes, so be especially mindful of them.
So wear a hat, sunglasses, sunscreen also provides great protection. Also try to find some shade and stay hydrated throughout the day. Try to run your errands before or after the warmest parts of the day. Which, Ed Matthews, is what time of day? The warmest part of the day.
Oh, usually mid-afternoon. We usually reach our high temperatures this time of year around 3, 4, 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So that's when we kind of max things out. But hey, the way we've been, I mean, we can have 90-degree heat midday at lunchtime, you know, when we're going to be up into the mid-90s. I would expect Saturday and Sunday we'll crack 90 probably around midday and keep going up, you know, through the afternoon. One point I want to make about heat exhaustion and heat stroke, it's really vital and so important that you don't let it get to the point of symptoms.
Right.
Because heat exhaustion or heat stroke, it almost has to run its course once you've moved that far. So it's important for you to monitor, you know, yourself and how you're feeling. Drink plenty of water before you start feeling sick, because once you start feeling sick, again, that's going to keep getting worse before it backs off and you start feeling better.
That's a great point. And you sometimes don't know you're experiencing it until you're in it,
Right.
So that's why the tips of staying hydrated, staying in the shade, you know, protecting yourself from the direct sunlight by wearing a hat, even using an umbrella, all of those things can help.
Yeah, I just saw a video, a viral video now of a delivery driver passing out on someone's porch because of the heat. It was just so hot to be in and out of the truck and running around delivering things. Just a reminder, this can happen on your job as well if you spend a lot of time outside. So you need to take proper precautions, drink a lot of water. It's interesting, it's not only hot here, it's hot in places that don't normally get hot, like London and Paris.
Yeah.
It is unheard of to have temperatures in the upper 90s, low 100s. A lot of people over there don't even have air conditioning because it's just not needed more often than not.
You know, the average high temperature this time of the year over there is in mid 70s, around 75, 76 degrees. So this is, almost unheard of for those folks. And I don't know if you guys saw this or not. I think we talked about it maybe a little bit yesterday about how some of the roads and some of the asphalt is actually melting.
Buckling, yeah.
And so what they're doing, the road where the Tour de France runs, they're actually having to water that every day to try to keep it cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so extreme heat really across the country. Here in the Triad, though, more heat and humidity. And I think, from being from the South, you kind of just get used to that summertime feeling. But I don't think I've ever been used to the humidity. That's what usually just kind of sucks all my energy out. After 10 minutes outside, I'm like, whew, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that we know it's coming. Like we do this every single July. This is not out of the ordinary for us, but I don't think I can ever get used to being 91, 92 degrees and feeling like 100. Like I just can't get used to that. And then once we're at the hottest point of the year, I've been kind of stressing this because a lot of folks have asked us, when is it going to cool down, right? Typically, we're at the hottest point of the year because our average high temperature right now is 89 degrees, and it never goes above that. So even though there will be more 90-degree days, as we go throughout the month of August and over the next 30 days, our average high temperature backs down a bit. So it's a little more common to start to see more days in the 80s as opposed to more days in the 90s. So it's a gradual improvement, but we are really in what we call the dog days of summer. So there is some relief on the way. This is just that point of the year. We're here, and then we got to come back down.
And when you factor in the humidity, and Christian and I really try to stress this, we'll say, well, the high is going to be 93, but it's going to feel like around 100 or maybe even a few degrees higher than that, because that's what your body thinks the temperature is, okay? So the heat index, or what it feels like, is really the more important value in terms of bringing potential danger and heat stress to your body.
And your body adjusts based on where you live. I know all of us have said we've been in this area quite a while now, if not already from here. But I went back to St. Louis, Missouri this past weekend to see family, and it is just a different kind of humidity. I mean, we went to a little zoo in the morning with the kids, and all of us were dripping. It was disgustingly hot. I just wasn't used to it anymore. I mean, here it's hot and humid, but it's like a whole different ball game in different regions of the country.
Another reason to appreciate the Carolinas.
I do. Closer access to the beach for sure, and the mountains.
I've joked about this several times, but when I was in school at App, you really got accustomed, especially in the winter, to the cold and the wind.
Yeah.
And then, I come home for 2 years, and I'm away from college, and then I go back up there, and it's not that cold, and I'm just like, man, how did I do this?
Right.
How did you do that?
I got used to it.
Heavy coat.
Exactly. Well, we do have some more hot days ahead.
Yeah.
We are not in a heat wave here, because in order for that to happen, Ed Matthews, what?
Well, you would have to have excessive heat. Now, 90 degrees is not really excessive heat. It's hot enough, because as Christian pointed out, climatologically speaking, we're in the hottest time of the year. Normal high 89, normal low 70. But when you get into those mid 90s like this weekend, and we don't expect this, but we're going to keep an eye on it, 95 on Saturday and Sunday. And then if it stayed in the mid 90s on into next week, we could call that a heat wave, because it's excessive heat over a period of time.
Right.
Got it.
So is it unusual that, given how warm we've been this summer, it's been pretty quiet in the tropics? I mean, I don't want to jinx anything, but it seems like with the water temperature being warmer earlier in the year, we should have had more tropical activity.
We've had a couple things, but it hasn't been too busy. Typically, June and July are not busy months in the tropics. Now, they have been before. There's always exceptions to the rule.
Sure.
But usually, like you mentioned, the water temperature is warm. It's like bath water. It's in the low 80s off the coast of Wrightsville Beach last time I checked. And that is that prime temperature. Once the water gets above 80 degrees, then you say it's pretty ripe for tropical, mischief, if you will. But usually once you get into August, peak season is, you had to put a date on it, is around September 10th to September 15th for peak of hurricane season. So usually once we get past July, then everything is pretty much primed and we'll start to see things get a little more active. So it's been quiet so far, but expected to see more active. And remember, all it takes is one storm. And you can have several little storms that never touch our coast, and may not even touch the U.S., but they get named, and you have to check one off the board. So things will get a little busier in the tropics, I expect, as we get into August. So
yeah, just about every day I come in, Christian, the tropics are still quiet. And we're delighted about that, but that can change on a dime. That can change really quickly, and we could be, looking at 3 or 4 different areas of disturbed weather that could potentially develop. But again, we're grateful for every day that passes that things are quiet.
If you want to know how quickly this can happen, I don't know if you guys remember or not, it's about 2 weeks ago. There was a little shower off the coast of Savannah, Georgia on a Friday afternoon. And Saturday morning, by the time I came in here, it was a tropical storm. And it happens that fast because, like you said, the water is so warm. Obviously, that one didn't cause any, didn't wreak any havoc on anybody. It just caused some rain along the coast. But that's how quickly it can happen. Wow. All it takes is a little cloud or a little shower or a little disturbance off the coast of Africa. And then as it moves out over the water, it's got several weeks to really, really gain some oomph.
Well, I love our weather chats. I always feel smarter after speaking with you guys. Let's go ahead and move on to our morning headlines now so you can know what's going on in your communities. A Winston-Salem church needs your help finding a stolen church van. They're handing out flyers, hoping you'll keep an eye out. The pastor of Lexwin Baptist says someone stole the van, plus the guitars, food, and cash kept inside the church. He says they first noticed things out of place Friday. Make sure you call the Winston-Salem Police Department if you spot the van.
Tonight you can hear from the mayoral candidates on the municipal election happening in Greensboro. They'll be here in our studio for a live conversation. We'll be asking all the questions you want to know ahead of Election Day on Tuesday. It starts at 5:30 p.m. Our conversation, tune in right here on WFMY News 2.
Big news for Greensboro. Top Golf could be getting a tee time. Last night, the city announced the company is considering a Greensboro location. City Council approved a resolution to reimburse a, quote, unnamed attraction for sewer improvements, but we confirmed with them that attraction is Top Golf. If the company decides to come to Greensboro, the driving range / bar and restaurant would be located on 8 acres of land right near I-40, Bridford Parkway, and Guilford College Road. You guys know that area. It's where all the shopping is near Wendover. Arts Greensboro is getting $50,000 in grant funds, and the arts group wants to use it to spruce up Greensboro's east side.
But before they direct any of those funds, they want to hear from you, the residents, on what they want to see. WFMY News 2's Denise McMiller explains how the neighbors can share their suggestions.
Well, Arts Greensboro is leaving it up to the residents to decide what they do with the money. So, for example, if people living in this neighborhood want to see this bus shelter covered in art, they could. Or if they want to see a community garden or a mural, they could see that as well. Here's how you can get your say and what is actually brought to life here on the east side. Residents can attend one of these active listening sessions in person or virtually. The meetings are for people who live in districts 1 and 2 of the city. That spans from areas like here on Phillips Avenue to Freeman Mill Road and parts of Market Street. The meetings are set up like a community forum where residents can say what they'd like to see and ask questions. Artists can share their work and how it could draw more people to the area.
These are art-based solutions, so no, we cannot fix systemic problems, but we can help address and we can help with the community development. We can help with the youth. We can help with civic engagement and keeping the people in the community active and giving them a voice to drive these changes.
Arts Greensboro has $50,000 available to make the community's ideas come to life. A portion of the funds will go to the artist chosen to pay for the cost to complete the project.
And it does bring money into Greensboro, so people who come to see these shows, come to see these visual exhibits, and come to see these different things, they come, they pay for parking in Greensboro, they go to the restaurants.
Again, listening sessions are happening throughout the rest of July. Now, from there, Arts Greensboro will review the feedback they get from residents, and by the fall, decide on the local artists and project that they'll complete.
A North Carolina man is celebrating a pretty big milestone, his 100th birthday. It is coming up on August 7th.
So Norris Dearmon from Kannapolis is known as Mr. History because Well, he's lived through a lot of it, right? And he knows so much about the history of the town. He spent most of his life there, of course, and shortly after being married in 1942, he was drafted into World War II. Well, he is now counting down the days into his 100th birthday in August. So, of course, you're wondering, what is his secret to a long and happy life? He said, don't smoke, don't drink, and stay away from women.
All right. I guess I'll back out of the frame here.
The women might like it too, you never know.
He was married, so I think he meant like, roaming.
Yeah. Behave yourself. I think that's what he was talking
We'll
about.
go with that. Yeah.
That's it.
Walk the straight and narrow.
Right, so you should be okay.
Okay, good.
Yes.
It's so funny. This is confusing because sometimes you hear from other people who have lived really long lives and they say their secret is like, a Coke a day or a bourbon or, whatever, things that are not healthy. And he says you should do things by the book. Don't drink. Don't, smoke. And yeah.
And what was that last one, Megan?
Stay away from women who are not your wife.
That's it.
I'll add that for him.
I mean,
That was in the
last
small
one
print.
is saying something, isn't it?
Fine print.
That was in the fine print.
If you look at the medical condition, and health and, good health habits and things like that, I think they're important. But, I think a large part of it has to do with your attitude.
Yeah.
And I can see that in my mom. Having been really deathly ill in recent years, she was determined that she was going to get better. She was supposed to be confined to a wheelchair. And man, she goes to yard sales and does all kinds of things. But one thing I appreciate about my mom and other senior citizens, if you have a positive attitude and you have a can-do attitude, you'll find out that you can do it.
And I think they're so positive because they've lived through it.
Yeah.
The things that we think are, the worst things in the world, they've gone through those things.
Oh, if I whine about
yeah.
something, my mom will call me out big time. So I just zip it.
I think staying active, keeping your mind sharp and your body in shape is so key. Two of my grandparents were farmers their whole lives. They did a lot of manual labor. They worked hard till well into their 70s, and they lived till 95 and 96.
Yeah.
Wow.
And granted, those last few years came with some health problems, but still, I mean, just being outside all the time, using their hands, using their mind, made a world of difference for them, I think.
Yeah, my grandpa lived to be 95, and he drove and got out and ran errands and went to eat at the same barbecue restaurant up until 2 weeks before he passed away. So, and he was always big on getting out and being active, and he didn't drive long distances the last couple of years of his life, but he would drive to church. He would get out, he would go to his Lions Club meetings and do all that. And I think staying active and, like Ed said, always having that the right mindset and the right attitude really goes a long way. You see that with folks who maybe are battling cancer or maybe battling some sort of other disease. It's about how they go into it and how they face it, and that means a lot. Makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
It does.
I think attitude and environment also plays a role, because if you have, generations of cousins who eat everything, sugar everything, pie every day. I mean, these health habits, which sound delicious, aren't necessarily the best for our health. I just did a 2-year well-being, and I talked with a Cone Health medical professional who said, taking away soda out of your diet adds 2 years to your life if you do it for just 2 months.
Wow.
So if you take it out completely over the course of your life, you're adding 2 years, to your life, just because the sugar and all the added sugar that's and processed sugar that's in soda. So I was like, oh, well, glad I did that. And then she said sweet tea, and I was like,
Well, there are some things. Your happiness is important as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. Everything in moderation.
That's right.
And of course, genetics play a role in lifespans, of course, and family history of certain medical issues. But there are a lot of things we can do to make our bodies and our minds healthier. And sometimes it's just a simple step. Like you said, it could be cutting out soda, cutting out another bad habit, just being a little more positive day to day.
Right.
Well, when I turn 100 years old,
Yes.
I will be sure to tell you my secret.
Sweet tea.
It won't be sweet tea.
It was a sweet tea a day.
Kept the doctor away.
Running after 3 kids. No, I have no idea what it will be, but I just, pray every day for a long life, as long as I can, to be with my kids and see them, grow and mature and just do all the things. All the things.
Yes.
All the things. All right, it is 8:14 here. We spent a lot of time talking about long life, which is great, so we went long. But maybe we can do a short weather.
Oh, yes. All you got to do is just say hot. Hot, hot, hot. There you go. 91 today, small storm chance, basically hot and dry. Cold front moves into the area, so an extra trigger for scattered storms tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. We'll be on the lookout for maybe a few of those with some damaging wind. So there is a slight severe weather risk on Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. And then Friday and the weekend, just July stamped all over it. Yeah, temperatures into the low and even mid-90s by Saturday and Sunday. The storm chance, not zero, but it's going to be very low. So you know what you do? You get to making plans for the weekend. Get outdoors and have fun, but stay cool. Important.
It's just hot until it's not.
The
Hot until
hottest
it's not.
day of the year always falls on my birthday. Every year. I mean, it will be like 90, 90, 90, and all of a sudden it's like 100 or 98 on my birthday. So it's just what it is.
Yeah.
Here we go. Heat, heat, heat. Hot, hot, hot. Hot until it's not.
Hot until it's not.
That's like a bumper sticker. All right, thanks so much for joining us on After GMS. Y'all had fun?
We sure did.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll do it again tomorrow. Take care.
See ya.